it was recommended not to approve the conditional use. Mr. Perez was extremely professional during that, and he even said if the neighborhood was opposed to it, that he didn't really want to see it go through. And most of the neighborhood was proposed for a lot of various reasons. So I just wanted to make sure the council was aware that the neighborhood was opposed to it. Mr. Perez was very professional, very kind. We all get along, and he even said that if the neighborhood was opposed to it, that he didn't want to see it go through. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other citizens' comments? Please state your name and address.
My name is Mark Sheridan. I'm one of the owners of the downtown service station. We are the only full-service gas and service station on Route 66. It's still in operation from Chicago all the way to the Santa Monica Pier in California. We are also the highest grossing motor vehicle inspection station in the state of Missouri. I am here today to kind of talk about the well-traveled rumor that there is going to be a dollar store in the field across from the motor vehicle in historic downtown Waynesville. Due to the lack of any information, official information from the city, I took it upon myself to start a petition against the dollar store going into downtown Waynesville. It's, I don't believe that it should be there. That's a prime piece of property that maybe the city should look into developing for the good of the city. As of today, I talked to the city of Waynesville on the 1st of November. No permits have been issued for that piece of land. That piece of land is owned by Barefoot Creek LLC. The owner lives at 101 Mitchell Heights Drive. I also went to the county, and as of November 1st, no recorded sale of the property or the deed has been submitted. I talked to Mr. Nathan Carmen on the 7th of November, and he told me that no permits have been applied for at that time. Tuesday on the 15th, the second survey was done of that property. Yesterday, Anderson Engineering drilled core samples of that property. Today, I went back to the county, and they confirmed that as of 2 o'clock this afternoon, nothing had been submitted for the sale of that property and registered with the county. I came here and asked if any permits had been issued for that property, and I didn't get the information that I got 2 weeks ago. I kind of got snowed. I stopped at the Chamber of Commerce and asked if any of the $5 stores in St. Roberts or Waynesville are members of the Chamber, and they are not. And I asked why, and they didn't have any clue to why, and I asked if they'd ever approached the dollar stores, and they said no. There is a rumor that the dollar store that's coming, well, rumored dollar store that's coming.
Sir, I can give you your information if you want.
Which?
The information you want.
Is it a dollar store?
I'll tell you. At this point, the Dollar General has not applied for any permits for the city of Waynesville, nor has contacted any city administrator about the project. If the Dollar General or similar type retail business would be interested in developing in the city of Waynesville, the city clearly has a process the city must follow for proposed development. First, zoning. City administration determines if the proposed development meets the uses specified for the zoning. If the proposed development meets the current zoning classification, then the plans would need to be submitted for review. If the proposed development does not meet current zoning classification, the property must be approved for rezoning and go before the Planning and Zoning Commission, and the recommendation of that commission would be forwarded to the City Council. Plan submittal and review, if it was necessary, after the property has the appropriate classification, for the proposed project, the plan submittal code review begins. The process includes such items as review of a site plan, parking plan, setback distances, utility locates, and other functions for the project. Upon review, the city plans, the city construction phase may begin the project. Construction phase, you obviously know about that. I will tell you this. The Dollar General store had surveyed, and it was talked about in a closed session meeting at the city. That closed session, the very next day, ended up on the sign at your location. So that closed session information left the city. The city does not own the property. The city, it is a commercial property bought and sold by Barefoot LLC. If they do sell that property, the city will go through the exact same zoning and classification that we did for your property also. They will have to apply for everything exactly like you did. But the problem exists is the city doesn't own that property. Legally, the city cannot tell anybody what to put on a property if it's sold, if it meets the classification and zoning requirements for that property. I'll give you an example. It would be you are the neighbor of that property, and I understand that. So let's say that my house at 141 Mesa Drive, the neighbor was selling the house at 143 Mesa Drive. Could I go to that company and tell them, do not sell that property to that person because I don't like them? Could I do that? Also, the historical aspect of that property. I don't believe you can make any property with no structures on it a historical property. So my question is what is the solution that would best fit you?
It's not what best fits me. It's what best fits the city of Waynesville.
Okay.
And I understand that the property is private property,
Okay.
that the seller has all the right to do that.
Okay, so and I guess my best question is, what do you expect the city to do?
I don't know that I expect the city to do anything because,
So what's our purpose of being here? If the city has never gotten a single permit on something, it was talked about in closed session. The city knows what to do. It's in municipal code, right? So if you don't expect the city to do anything, why are we here?
I'm here to simply bring up the fact that I have petitions that says that locals do not want a.
But what does the petition do if they've never even applied for a permit?
This scenario
I'm lost.
unfolded 12 years ago, from what I understand.
With the same scenario from 12 years ago?
Yeah,
It wasn't 12 years ago, it was about 6, but okay.
it was 2010.
But it wasn't a petition then, the
From
Dollar
what I
Store
know,
decided to
we were
move to a
there.
different
And
location.
for whatever reason, the Dollar General did not come to downtown Waynesville.
Yeah, so with that said,
So with that said,
I don't know exactly what you expect the city to do.
Don't overtalk him. He's saying things, he's not trying to interrupt you. Don't interrupt
well,
him.
I gave him this information.
Oh.
Doc, I'm not arguing with you.
Don't interrupt him when he's talking. He
Yes,
will
sir.
interrupt
Yes,
you.
sir. Yes, sir.
so I have my petitions.
Okay.
I also have, when we look up Dollar Generals, there was a rumor that the new Dollar General that's coming in, will change its facade to fit into the city of Waynesville. There are currently 5 of them here. There's one on Z Highway, which is on Route 66. There's one in the west side of Waynesville that's on Route 66. There's one in Buckhorn that's on Route 66. And they all look like General Dollars. I don't expect that this one is going to change.
Is it okay if I talk?
Sure, go ahead.
And I will tell you this, most of the people who do develop in downtown Waynesville do go with the facades of the rest of downtown Waynesville. Now, I will say this, if the Dollar General does submit a plan and proposal, that may be part of it that the city could do to make the facade look like the rest of historical Route 66. I believe we did the same thing at the Piney River tap room down there. It used to be something different. Whenever they bought, we kind of made it in the zoning classification.
And the Lone Oak Printing Building also with that route also.
Yeah.
The homeowner, one of the homeowners at the back of that lot has been contacted by an investment firm in California. they are gonna buy all of her property, which will leave one on the corner of Olive and North and Bill Farmer's property. They have made her an offer. After she was talking to me, she offered me some of the property. I declined. She is going to accept that, and theory being, they're gonna buy that property and bulldoze it and make it a bigger lot for the incoming store. I don't have a problem with,
May I ask a question?
sure,
I was at the gas station a week or so ago.
yep,
At that time, the indication was the biggest objection from that people there is not that it's not fit for downtown, not that there were too many Dollar Generals, but the fact that the owners of that station wanted to buy the land themselves to build something else on it.
the owners,
So your objection is not,
that we want to build something on there,
that's what I was told when I was in your station.
we've never had,
And I was gonna say, that's always an option too. If we don't want something there, then somebody else would have to buy it.
well, I understand.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and I understand the frustrations and everything. But sometimes people expect things from the city that the city's not legally able to do.
I'm not against dollar stores, they have their place. And for somebody that's in the park, or the county building, motor vehicle, somebody that's down in the city that's walking, a dollar store would fit perfectly for their needs. They could walk to the dollar store and get whatever they wanted, and go back to the park, go back to lunch. That would
I
work.
get it. I mean, I completely understand.
Okay, on
And
the
I-
flip
and I-
side
And I hope
of
the
that,
mayor doesn't rat me down again,
on the flip side of
but I
that,
don't know what the city can do. I mean, I live in Waynesville too. Me personally, unless a dollar store down there looks like the Thai food market and the hoppers and everything else, I think it would be an eyesore.
It
I
may be.
completely understand that.
I'm not gonna speak for the
But-
chief of police, I don't know if he's here tonight, but
He is, he's a-
okay, after dark, dollar stores tend to bring out the undesirable individuals. Somebody that's gonna get out of the jail out back is gonna go to the dollar store, they're gonna buy a phone, or they're gonna buy beer, they're gonna buy wine, and they're gonna come over to my shop and steal another car, and they're gonna go to the Fort Wood Inn.
Yeah, we can play ifs all day.
I understand.
I'm sure you know the saying as well as I do.
Yep.
If it was a fifth, we'd pass it all around and get drunk.
Sir, where'd you get that information from?
Where they get the money?
That they're gonna get out of jail and go to Dollar General and do all this?
Well, other than the Dollar General, they did get out of jail, they did come to my shop, they did steal a car, and they did go to the Fort Wood Inn.
That has nothing to do with a Dollar
I
General.
understand that.
I'm here to tell you, as a retired police officer, what you're saying holds no water.
Maybe, but if it goes as planned here, we'll see what happens.
But I just feel like we're spinning our wheels for nothing, for something that's not even been administered to the city yet. So it's really hard to make a decision on anything.
Well, you don't have anything to make a decision on at the
You know,
moment.
so I mean, we're just spinning our wheels.
Okay,
So,
well, I have the petitions here of the people of Waynesville that say they don't want a dollar store there.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I didn't get your address. What was your home address? You never mentioned it. You said.
My home address?
Yeah, you were supposed to give your address.
Oh,
when you started.
I live in St. Robert.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, is there any other questions for Mr. Sheriff before we?
You got it.
I just have one question. I mean, you seem to have gone through a lot to get people to sign the petition and do all of this. And it's all based on a rumor. So my question is where did this rumor start? Who told you initially that a Dollar General or any type of dollar store was going to be coming into Waynesville? Because I had never heard that until I saw it on your sign.
I can't answer that. It's just one of them things. Everybody knows it's gonna happen until it happens.
Well, I feel like I'm in the know and a lot about the city, and I didn't know. anything until I saw your sign, so. It just seems like you've put in a lot of effort to stop something that none of us are tracking as valid information. So,
Well, I'll
I
tell
was
you
just
this,
curious.
there was 5 people in that meeting.
So there was a meeting? Is that what you're saying?
It was a closed session where it was brought to our attention that Dollar General was surveying down there. That is all that was brought to our attention. That was all that was talked about in that closed session meeting. That was it. There was only 5 people in the meeting.
And businesses come into areas and survey all the time. I mean, that's how businesses decide if they want to come to a place. That's how all these go into a location. Just because people are in an area and surveying doesn't mean that that is happening.
And my question in that meeting is why would they put a Dollar General there when there was already one up the street?
1 every 5 miles.
So, but yeah, I mean, it was a 2-sentence thing in a closed session meeting. So,
For those of you that don't know what he means by closed session, is that we have, in the city, there are some things that get discussed, and for legal reasons, they are not talked about to the public.
because they're not happening yet.
Yeah. And things like this occur, so, I don't know, I feel like we've spent quite a bit of time tonight talking about something that we don't even have validation for, so.
All you have to do is look at the IHOP sign. I believe it's still up there in St. Robert. Every
No, they took it down.
IHOP was coming in.
That's kind of funny. I wish it would
IHOP had a
have
sign up, or someone had a sign up, but it never came.
Any other questions, or can we move on now? Another citizen comment?
Yes, sir.
Name and address, please.
My name is Laura Abernathy Huffman, and I live at 303 Collier Road off of T Highway. I brought some prepared remarks. Council members, first I would like to thank you all for serving. I truly appreciate your volunteerism to our community. I would also like to thank the city for creating a position for an economic developer. The main thing that I would like to see come out of this situation with Dollar General is an economic plan that places downtown and Route 66 tourism front and center. I would like for the city to ask the Merrimack Regional Planning Commission for assistance in conducting a historic inventory survey for downtown and our Route 66 corridor. I would like to see the city connect with and work with Missouri Humanities to preserve our community, legacy, and history. I would like to see the city work hand in hand with downtown businesses and the businesses on Route 66. I'd like to see the city work hand in hand with Pulaski County Tourism Bureau to effectively market downtown and Route 66 to the group travel industry and to leisure travelers. I'd like to see the city work hand in hand with the Pulaski County Museum and Historical Society and the Route 66 Association of Missouri and other stakeholders to develop and implement an economic development plan that prioritizes tourism. Waynesville is literally at the intersection of Route 66 and National Defense. We have a legacy that no other Route 66 community can replicate. Our neighbors at Fort Leonard Wood have brought a diversity to our rural stretch of Route 66 that can't be matched by any other small town on the routes. Although we have become a transient community, our downtown, as it looks today, is still recognizable to the soldiers who came here during World War II before they shipped out to save the world. Our downtown isn't just our downtown. It also belongs to every serviceman and woman who has served on Fort Leonard Wood. Our downtown is the bond that ties us together with our military brothers and sisters from around the world, from the past and the future. I encourage the city and her leaders to develop and implement ordinances that will protect our downtown and Route 66 assets for generations of locals, military members, and Route 66 enthusiasts for years to come. Thank you for your time, and thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Are you suggesting that we tear down the modern buildings that have been put up, like the License Bureau, and put a bar back down there, put a bar on every corner, so that the someone who was here during the Korean War to walk up to a bar that they were in 50, 60 years ago.
I don't think
Yeah, I
that's-
had contact.
I don't think that's what she's saying. I do appreciate your comment. Ma'am,
That's historic downtown.
Yes, sir.
can I get your comments?
Yes, absolutely. I did forget to thank you guys for the Hogs and Frogs Festival that I had quite prepared.
Is there a way I can get your number also?
Absolutely, it's area code 573-201-4545.
And I only say that because the Planning and Zoning Committee, there's a big, huge book of stuff about downtown Waynesville and stuff that Luge and we, capital improvement plan, all that stuff. Some of that stuff's in there. If I can, I'll talk to you and so.
Absolutely, I'd love to have a conversation.
You know, and we appreciate you coming in, and this is a great place to bring it to the forum, but also going to planning and zoning, going to economic development, those committees, sometimes you can get on more, 3-on-1 or 3-on-2, to provide your items too, which would be very helpful. And if you would provide a copy of that to John.
I think there's, well, John probably has a copy, but it's a big old huge book that we used to have to.
No, I'm talking about her suggestions.
Oh, yes, absolutely, yes.
I have attended those community meetings in the past, and I have been lax in doing so lately, but yes, I will make a plan to
Again,
start.
thank you for coming in, and thank you for your suggestions.
Thank you.
Any other citizen comments? Special guest, Mr. Kelly Beats.
Well, thank you. My name's Kelly Beats. I'm with MIRMA. It's an acronym for Missouri Intergovernmental Risk Management Association. You guys joined the insurance pool probably 5-6 years ago. And I get to work with everyone here in Waynesville, and everyone is great to work with. Sometimes they give me a hard time, but I like to give it right back to them. So, part of our program throughout the years, our pool just insures cities and municipalities. Throughout the years, we've been able to identify areas where we have greater losses or greater risks. And so we developed a risk grant program that identified those risks and try to minimize those losses. And it kind of primarily focuses on 2 areas: work comp, worker safety, and liability, in the public, and maybe safety for the citizens as well. And that's why I'm here tonight. The police department submitted for some body camera footage. I think, I know the attorney right here, they like to have the footage when something goes right or wrong. We, say a picture says 1,000 words, so, and it does. Sometimes it's helpful, sometimes it isn't, but it's a great tool for the officers, a little bit of officer safety, and it's a great liability tool for the police department as well. So we gave back 75% of the cost for those body cameras. So I made this nice little plaque here for $1,470. I bet you get the check. If I didn't give that to her, she probably would make sure that I heard about it. So, like I said, everyone in the city of Waynesville is great. I was going to get Miriam and Amber's plaque. They got a plaque this year at the annual meeting for the most improved evaluation. So I want to thank you guys for all the hard work and effort. And that really goes to all the employees of Waynesville. We have an evaluation every year. We kind of score you on how you do on your liability, your HR policy manuals, your safety manuals, safety training, inspections, all the way down to some of your HR related matters. And you had the most improved score. I think it was a 14% improvement. Yeah, they went 14% improvement. I remember that, and got up to a 97 on the score, which is a great score on that annual evaluation. So, wanted to thank everyone and all the employees of Waynesville for all the extra work that they put into that. So, congratulations, and I don't know, who do I give this by?
Come down, Dan. Like to get some pictures if we could too, Kelly. Is that
I hope
fine?
I don't break the camera.
We got backup.
Okay. This time we're ready. up on something, I don't know.
Sorry about me being crazy, man.
I come to City Hall and you get along with people when they start giving you a hard time, and I've got to learn to stick up for myself when I come to Waynesville a little bit. But, no, they're great city to work with. Thank you.
guys.
We appreciate all your help too.
It's all put
Thank you.
on.
Thanks, Kelly.
Okay, boards, commissions, liaison reports. Pork board, they did not have a meeting, but Randy, could you give us anything, information?
The only thing we're working on right now, actively is, we've got the 3 pavilions to name. We've got, WCC, I believe it is, was gonna make the signs for us once we get the design to them. And, if I'm not mistaken, we're gonna put out, on the website, for suggestions for names for these 3 pavilions. As far as what we got coming up next year, I've got some projects that I've been trying to push, getting some shade down at the ball fields that was requested by some citizens. We've got new benches that we need to have put in there, and some other projects, but that'll all start at the start of the new fiscal year.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Randy? Planning and zoning.
Yes. The planning and zoning meeting was called to order. Difficulty? Sorry about that. Lost it on my iPad here. Okay. The planning and zoning meeting was called to order at 5:30 p.m. A quorum was present. The minutes were approved from the October 1st or October 11th meeting. We had an open public hearing regarding the conditional use permit to allow chickens on property located at 102 Hickory Ridge in Waynesville. Mr. Perez, who resides there, was wanting chickens for his family. Very nice guy, said if it caused any problems, he wasn't going to do it. Mr. Keith Pritchard said, the developer of the subdivision said there was restricted covenants for the subdivision not allowing chickens. Also, Mr. Dunbar spoke and said, really liked the neighbor and everything, but didn't think that was really the right place to do it. Plus the covenants kind of kept it from happening. And at the end of the day, there was no chickens. It was voted down. So on from there, no further comments on that. Twyla Cordry closed the public hearing on that. Trudy Dills made a motion that was approved. We also talked about the final plat of the Briar Point Estates Phase 2. Mr. Doyle discussed the name change on the subdivision. It has been changed to the Links at Cottage Hill. That's the only thing different from the primarily plat. Trudy Dills discussed the safety issues with the constructed vehicles speeding through the neighborhood and would like to propose them to use a road from T Highway as construction in and out. Mrs. Dill stated that the developer owns that access, so why can't they use it? Mr. Doyle stated that he can ask, but can't require him to do that. They also discussed the Jared Street there. Scott Owens stated the cars struggle on the steep hill, and if Jared looped around, it would provide an overall benefit to everyone. Joy Bishop of 100 Page Street stated that she is concerned with the lot sizes and the houses stacked on top of each other. Building these houses would take down the value of the homes already there. Mr. Brown, Mayor Brown, made a motion to send the final plat with the name change into the subdivision to City Council. It was seconded, motion passed. With no further business, the meeting was adjourned at 5:58 p.m. Next scheduled meeting is for December 13th, 2022.
Any questions for Mr. Rice? We have two ordinances. House Bill 2022-32. Reading, please.
An ordinance granting approval for a conditional use permit to keep poultry at 102 Hickory Ridge, Waynesville, Missouri, fixing an effective date. Second reading. An ordinance granting approval for a conditional use permit to keep poultry at 102 Hickory Ridge, Waynesville, Missouri, fixing an effective date.
Do I have a motion? Mr. Rice?
Second.
Mr. Davis? Discussion?
Wilson.
Mr. Wilson, sorry. Any discussion? Roll call?
I guess I'm a little confused.
Yes.
Is this the one that Mike just spoke about at the
That's correct.
beginning?
It is.
That-
Yes.
And everybody agreed that it was not a good idea.
The
So,
recommendation of planning and zoning was to not
Right.
accept
Yes.
it. We have the ordinance till we have to vote.
Okay. Just making sure that it was the same.
Roll call?
Councilman Corn,
No.
Councilman Conley,
No.
Councilman Liberty,
No.
Councilman Rice.
No.
Councilman Wilson,
No.
Councilman Davis,
No.
Councilman Farnum.
No.
Thank you.
Second ordinance, our second ordinance would be House Bill 2022-33.
First reading, an ordinance approving the final plat for Phase 2 of Briar Point Estates to be known as The Links at Cottage Hill, fixing an effective date. Second reading, an ordinance approving the final plat for Phase 2 of Briar Point Estates to be known as The Links at Cottage Hill, fixing an effective date.
Do I have a motion for this ordinance?
Motion.
Mr. Conley, a second.
Second.
Mr. Rice, discussion?
Got a question, Mayor. If we have original plats for Briar Point, and now they're changing the name, over a matter of time, there will be people buying and selling. Will the original Briar Point have any kind of notation of the addition on, so it's not confusing doing the title work?
so, little misconception there. This portion of Briar Point never had a final plat. So the name change was only between the preliminary and the final. So this would have been like Briar Point Phase 2 in preliminary, not recorded. The final plat recorded will be the links at College Hill, or Cottage Hill. Does that make sense?
Well, it does to me, but I'm just thinking down the road if there's any.
So Briar Point existing would be Briar Point Phase 1. So if you bought a lot in Briar Point, it would say all of lot whatever in Briar Point Phase 1. Briar Point Phase 2 was never a recorded plat. That plat was never recorded. It only existed in the preliminary form in the city.
So it's just one and done, and now this is totally new.
New subdivision. Correct. Good point, though. Thank you.
Any other questions regarding this ordinance? Roll call?
Councilman Farnum,
Yes.
Councilman Davis,
Yes.
Councilman Wilson,
Yes.
Councilman Rice,
Yes.
Councilman Liberty,
Yes.
Councilman Connolly,
Yes.
Councilman Corn.
Yes.
Thank you.
Standing committee reports. Utility, Mr. Conley.
Utility Committee met on 1st of November. Full committee was there, along with some of the city staff and our famous reporter. We approved the minutes from October the 4th, and we discussed the December 13th utility meeting, which will be at 3:30 in these chambers. We're going to have a show and tell of our GIS system, and the public is invited. This is of interest of transparency. We talked about the final budget for the wastewater, electric, natural gas, sanitation, and approved that budget and moved it to council for approval. Had an update from the natural gas. Mr. York stated his department had installed 6 new services, set new meters and regulator at the bus barn, and ran a new line to the administration building. They've done 59 dig rights and assisted the city of Richland with mutual aid in their natural gas department. Mr. Doyle said the electric department had 4 power outages, 6 street lights, 8 miscellaneous, and 2 new services for the month of October. Major highlights for October included continued work on Mesa, shut down the Waynesville maintenance building, school board maintenance building, in order to change out a transformer. They sit down the Waynesville school bus barn and swap transformer out for a larger one. They kept up with monthly dig rights, completed the GIS data collection for the electrical system, and the single-phase reclosers saved 7 power outages. The wastewater and sewer department completed lead and copper samples, with the results being mailed out to the customers. We repaired several water leaks. Treatment is running well. No other business. We adjourned at 3:55. Next meeting, December 13th.
Any questions for Mr. Conley? Economic Development and Governmental Affairs.
Yes, the Economic Development and Governmental Affairs meeting was called to order on November 1st at 5 p.m. There were no citizens' comments. The minutes were approved from the October 4th meeting. We discussed the Economic Development Budget 2023. Mr. Doyle discussed the budget for the fiscal year of 2023 to be $110,000 has been budgeted for this line item. We mentioned the business spotlight of the month for November, which is Al West Collision Center. We also discussed the Calabria Italian restaurant that's coming into Price Cutter. We also discussed the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall for 2023. Mr. Doug Potts is submitting an application for the city of Waynesville to host the mobile Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall. It's titled The Wall Up That Heals. The city will provide a site open to the public 24 hours a day for 3 days. They would charge no admission fees for visitors. The city will recruit, set up, and break down teams to assemble the wall, arrange ceremonies. The Wall That Heals visit will also promote the event throughout the community and establish a committee to manage the planning and display of the wall. We went on to special events, which was the Veterans Day Parade, November 11th. That's already happened. We discussed the Christmas on the Square, which is December 1st. That's a Thursday from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Then that Sunday will be the Christmas Parade from December 4th at 2 p.m. In other business, Mr. Doyle and the committee members discussed upcoming meeting dates and decided that there was not a meeting going to happen in December unless something came up. Doug Potts discussed the fiscal year 23 marketing assistance grant through Pulaski County Tourism. Mr. Potts also applied for this grant, and the city was approved for an award of $15,000 for advertising investments specific to Hogs and Frogs event. There was a need for a closed session on real estate matters. The committee went into closed session at 5:22 p.m., came out at 6:07 p.m. Having no further business, the meeting adjourned at 6:07 p.m. The next scheduled meeting will be held on January 3rd, 2023.
Any questions for Mr. Rice? Roads and Grounds.
Roads and Grounds met on November 3rd at 5 p.m. We had a quorum present. We also had 3 citizens that came to visit. 2 had comments, 1 just wanted to observe, kind of a regular, Mr. Downtown Randy Brown. Citizen Joe Creel asked for an update on the previous request for the stop sign to be removed from Collier Street and moved back to Long Drive. Mr. Doyle stated we haven't had a chance to do a traffic study yet, and I suggested that maybe we need to get the police department involved in it, to look at it also and give us some ideas. And we'll pacify Mr. Creel for the time being, and we will get back to him with our results. Citizen Cheryl T. of 203 South Oak came and was not understanding where the city street stopped and her property for her driveway starts. The road is asphalted, and they had asphalted their property in the past. And apparently she's been having problems with people coming into their property driveway, turning around, leaving trash and things of that nature. So we said we would have to look to see where our road quits and theirs starts. And I don't think we'll have time, probably not for another couple of weeks to even do that. So, but we will get it done and we will tell the team. The minutes of the meeting was approved. We discussed the 2023 street budget. The budget for 2023 projected revenue of 1.8 million and expenses 1.7 million. And I imagine we'll find a place to even that out, make it 1.8 on both sides. We received project updates on Mesa, La Vista, and Alice. The street department's been busy grading the roads, pouring the curves. We also discussed some abandoned houses that we came into on Highway 17 about putting it out for bid to either tear them down or move them. Mr. Jason Chapman gave us updates from the street department that they've been busy pouring the last section of the curb there on Mesa. He said so far this year they've hauled 19,391 tons of rock. So that's quite a bit of material. In other business, Mr. Doyle also discussed stop sign issues on Jared Street that I believe was discussed just recently. And having no further business, we adjourned at 5:43. We had no closed session. Our next meeting is scheduled for January 5th at 5 p.m. Everybody's welcome.
Any questions for Mr. Farnham? John, you have anything to add on that? Police Committee.
Emergency Services and Police Committee met on November 10th. The meeting was called to order by myself at 3:30 p.m. There was a quorum. We did have guests there that day, and of course it was Mr. Brown, Randy Brown was there, and Councilman Ed Conley sat in, and Mr. Chief Shepherd for the fire department, St. Robert. The minutes were approved and accepted as published. St. Robert Fire Department, they gave a report on the Knox boxes were successfully changed over, and they had already been changed out. We received a report from the police department, the chief. He informed us that in reference to a grant in 2023, that from the dates of November 23rd to January 1st, they'll be running a holiday impaired traffic campaign grant with the DWI reinforcement campaign or enforcement campaign. So during those time periods, there will be increased opportunities, I guess, but we'll have more police officers out enforcing this grant during that period. Also, we received steel barriers. That was through Homeland Security. There was a grant. It was reimbursement of 100% for these barriers, and they cost a little bit less than $12,000. Now, during the parade, we've seen those out there. They actually set those up to help block off the roads instead of putting out the cones. It kind of helps to really improve our security prevent vehicles from infiltrating different areas and things like that. But we're very grateful of that. We also talked about the special events, which was the Veterans Day Parade. I want to say thank you to everybody that came out and participated, and also for all the volunteers and our police and the fire department that actually showed up in force out there, and it was a great event that day. We also have the Christmas on the Square and the Christmas Parade. Those are the only two other events that dealt with the police involvement with either traffic or things of that nature. The Christmas on the Square will be December 1st from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. The Christmas Parade is going to be on December 4th, and that's going to be start at 2 p.m., and I believe that's on a Sunday. We did have a closed session on the agenda, but we did not have need for a closed session, so the meeting adjourned at 3:45. Our next meeting will be January 12th at 3:30 right here at City Hall, and you're welcome to come.
Any questions? Finance and Human Resources.
Finance and Human Resource Committee met November 10th. 2022 at 5 p.m. Call to order and a quorum was established. Citizens' comments, there were no citizens' comments. Ms. Brown stated a need for closed session in accordance with Missouri 610.22. Councilman Conley moved to go into closed session and seconded by Councilman Corrin. Committee returned to open session at 5:33. Committee approved the October 22 minutes. The committee also reviewed the bills, had some questions answered, and approved the bills to be paid. Cash flow account status, end of year budget review. Committee reviewed the city's cash flow reports, bank account status, and year-to-date budget. The city has completed 83.3% of the fiscal year 22 budget, with expenses at 85% and revenues at 84%. The city bank accounts have a total of $5,563,394.92. After review of the budget, the committee proposed that the budget be sent to City Council for final approval. There was a presentation of banking bids. The committee reviewed the bills and received banking services. Representatives from Security Bank and Citizens Bank of the Midwest answered questions. The bids were almost identical, with the availability of fee structure, and other requests only deferred. The main reason that we went with Security Bank instead of Citizens Bank was the one offered us 1% below Fed rate, the other one offered us 50% of Fed rate interest bearing or return on our money in the bank. When you're talking about 1 or 2% of the Fed's interest rate, it goes up quite a bit. So we went with Security Bank because their bid was better. ARPA projects monthly update. Ms. Box stated that the meeting was held with several senior staff members with ARPA. Projects were prioritized as the duties were assigned. The first project to be completed is the RV Park expansion project. Daniel Sheldon has been assigned as the project lead, has had laid out 14 new lots. Once the lots are in, the campers will be adjusted adjacent so the trees can be fixed on the other side so they're not falling on campers. Lost my place. After that, the review of the FY 2023 salary schedule and personnel managing chart. Committee forwarded the proposed salary schedule and personnel managing chart to the City Council for approval. Amendment 3, recreational marijuana. I stated that I wanted to look at recreational marijuana and develop restrictions similar to those regarding alcohol consumption. Ms. Brown will work on the revisions to the existing ordinance and bring a draft ordinance to the next meeting. Basically what I would like to look at is if you can't walk down the street drinking something, I don't think you should be able to walk down the street smoking anything either. Other business, censorship of the mayor. There was no update for the mayor. I did get proposed with a question of the censure. Somebody stated that the censure says that the mayor is not a member of any committee, and he's still acting on committees currently. It could put the city in a pickle when he makes a motion to move something to city council, and the censor says that he's not supposed to be a committee member. I haven't looked at it. I was bringing it up so the lawyer could look at it. We also proposed cancellation of the December 8th committee meeting. The committee approved the cancellation. The next meeting will be held January 12th, 2023 at 5 p.m. The committee adjourned at 6:18 p.m. Subject to your questions.
Any questions for Mr. Davis? We do have 3 ordinances. Bill 2022-34.
First reading, an ordinance adopting the fiscal year 2023 hiring and promotion salary schedule and personnel manning chart, repealing conflicting ordinances, fixing an effective date. Second reading, an ordinance adopting the fiscal year 2023 hiring and promotion salary schedule and personnel manning chart, repealing conflicted ordinances, fixing an effective date.
Do I have a motion for this ordinance?
Motion. Second.
Mr. Conley and Amanda will second that. Discussion.
It's seconded.
Any discussion on this? Roll call.
Councilman Corn? Councilman Conley?
Yes.
Councilman Liberty?
Yes.
Councilman Rice?
Yes.
Councilman Wilson?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Farnum?
Yes.
Thank you.
Have another ordinance, 2022-35.
An ordinance adopting the fiscal year 2023 budget, fixing an effective date, repealing conflicting ordinances. An ordinance adopting the fiscal year 2023 budget, fixing an effective date, repealing conflicting ordinances.
We have a motion for this ordinance? How about, all right, Mr. Liberty, how about Ed, you can take the second. Ed seconds it. Discussion? Roll call?
Councilman Farnum?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Wilson?
Yes.
Councilman Rice?
Yes.
Councilman Liberty?
Yes.
Councilman Conley?
Yes.
Councilman Corn?
Yes.
Thank you.
Ordinance, House Bill 2022-35.
36? Right,
36.
okay.
Okay,
2022-36.
Let's make it 36, but it says 35 on the ordinance here.
Mine says 36. Okay. First reading, ordinance authorizing the city of Waynesville to accept a bid proposal for banking services submitted by Security Bank of Pulaski County, fixing an effective date. Second reading, an ordinance authorizing the city of Waynesville to accept a bid proposal for banking services submitted by Security Bank of Pulaski County, fixing an effective date.
You have a motion for this ordinance?
Motion.
Mr. Liberty, Amanda seconds it. Discussion? Any discussion? Roll call?
Councilman Farnum?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Wilson?
Yes.
Councilman Rice?
Yes.
Councilman Liberty?
Yes.
Councilman Conley?
Yes.
Councilman Corn?
Yes.
Thank you.
Waynesville St. Robert Airport Board, Councilman Liberty.
The meeting was held on October 25th. Called to order at 3 o'clock. Minutes were approved. The budget was provided to the board, which reflects 83% of the year. Revenues tracking at 95% and expenses at 89%. Proposed budget 2023. We're provided with that budget. It'll be reviewed on the 22nd of this month, which is our next meeting. Hangar rental fees was discussed. The Jeff City, Camden and them are $200 to $250. The airport manager, Mike Guy, recommended $135 to $150. And that will also be discussed. Fuel sales are down a little bit. Terminal area master plan, we held a meeting on November 15th, which went well. A lot of the different inspections and stuff that we need to have done before we can move forward have been done. But we still have a ways to go before we can break ground. Contour line, there was a drawing held to celebrate Contour coming back for 2 free round trip tickets, and 104 people put in, and Kimberly McGuire is the one that was drawn for those tickets. There was no further business. Meeting was adjourned at 3:13. Next meeting will be Tuesday, November 22nd, 3 o'clock, Waynesville City Hall. Please feel free to come to the meeting. You'll learn a lot. There's more to it than I thought there was before I got on the committee.
Any questions, Mr. Liberty? We do have an ordinance, Bill 2022-37.
First reading, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2507, authorizing the mayor of the city of Waynesville to execute a supplemental agreement for airport aid between the city of Waynesville, city of St. Robert, and the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission, fixing an effective date. Second reading. An ordinance amending ordinance number 2507, authorizing the mayor of the city of Waynesville to execute a supplemental agreement for airport aid between the city of Waynesville, city of St. Robert, and the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission, fixing an effective date.
Do I have a motion for this?
Motion.
Mr. Liberty, second, anyone?
Second.
Mr. Wilson. Discussion. Roll call?
Councilman Corn,
Yes.
Councilman Conley,
Yes.
Councilman Liberty,
Yes.
Councilman Rice,
Yes.
Councilman Wilson,
Yes.
Councilman Davis,
Yes.
Councilman Barnum.
Yes.
Thank you.
Other business. Actually, Mr. Rice has a piece of business I'd like to slip in here. Would you like to do your presentation?
I would, well, yes, I would. Went to the Veterans Parade on the 11th. The days before it was really warm. That day was not so warm. Got to see the Veteran of the Year give a speech. He did a wonderful job. I was there with my camera, and so I took a few pictures, so I thought I'd print a few for Ed. Ed, I'd like to give you these.
Oh,
Yes.
My wife's running out of room on this.
Well, I'm sorry.
Very nice, Amanda.
A picture of the picture.
A picture of the picture. Very good. Do we have another?
Two. Just two. Ed represented the city very well, and all the veterans around the world very well, too. Thank you, Ed.
I was only glad that after 42 years, my uniform still was wearable.
Are you sure you didn't get it all?
Did not get it all.
Okay. I'll take your word for
And
it.
the only complaint I had about it was by a retired sergeant major. You know how those folks are. He pointed out to me that I had forgot to put my name tag on. I have no idea where the name tag is.
I could have brought you one.
John, you have a production for us tonight?
So you guys may notice in your packet, there's not a end-of-year review, which I think even by policy and or ordinance, the city administrator is required to provide the council a monthly report. But that report's not in your packet. Tonight we have hopefully a special treat if we can get this going. This is an end-of-year review and not my words. You guys hear from me like 10 times a year. So I want you guys to sit back and enjoy hearing about the projects that you guys put in motion last January.
Most of the council in the committee system in late 2021. I think through all the committees being represented equally, we came up with some really good ideas. Those ideas included the subdivision improvement program, which you will be referenced around here as the SIP. We recognized a a need to apply for grants for the city. That initiated a lot of grant writing to include submitted for about 14 million grants. The commercial trash service that was created this year in the city of Waynesville. I watched the utility clerk and the utility department spend an immense amount of time and an incredible amount of work dedicated to ensuring that this went off without a hitch. Continued with a GIS system of the city. The GIS was, I will say, is currently ahead of schedule and was kind of the dream of the city to be able to generate electronic mapping of our utilities of our roads, property boundaries, subdivisions, and how to track these systems. At the end of last year, John started the SIP program, which allowed us to bring in more infrastructure and more homes into the city of Waynesville. At the start of this back a year ago, we had put in close to 2 miles of underground electric line, transformers. We put in meter-based pedestals. We've had 60 new services go in up there at the summit alone. So we've put, as far as new water main that's went in on the new subdivision, we put about 5,000 to 6,000 feet of 8-inch water main in. Each lot that goes in has to have obviously a water connection and also a sewer lateral that's tied into the gravity main. So there's roughly 80 to 85 sewer laterals that's being tied into the city main and stubbed out into each property lot.
Very busy, very busy. We laid 5,250 feet of gas main, and we currently put in 42 service lines to houses. In some places, the sewer line had to be dug 8 foot deep, where the gas line is only supposed to be about 3 foot. And so we had to build shelves, put the gas line on the side. There was also force mains in the ditch with us, and they had to be on the other side. So in order to backfill and to put bedding and everything in, created lots of time to get everything in the right way.
Well, we have all right at 19,391 tons of this subdivision, between 1-inch clean, road rock base, sand for these guys, lots and lots of rocks to get this done. Put it out right out this year alone, 21,000 miles on one dump truck. I mean, I kept it hot.
So when I say over the past year, technically it's been probably about 3 to 4 months solid that we have had time to actually put in 2 miles of underground primary. And that's just the underground primary. That's not talking about probably a mile of underground secondary for road crossings and transformers and meter bases. And it's just a lot of work in a very short amount of time that we come together as a group to perform and get done. Cox and Company and Mark Brown and Pinnacle Homes have been very pleased with the work that the City of Waynesville Public Works Department on a whole has done. I have been praised by them on numerous occasions. We have a good working relationship with both contractors up there. There's been no problems or no issues whatsoever. It's just been a tremendous effort on all the public works guys to come together and be able to make this work happen.
Say in a nutshell, we just do
Utilities, no. We have trash, which we just picked up, which is huge. Commercial trash was like 110 new accounts for utilities. Getting the account set up, getting everything synchronized with St. Robert to make sure we get all these picked up. It's not just a simple admin account. We had to go through and getting everybody set up as far as that, getting deposits. We sent out agreements. We had our economic development coordinator, Doug Potts, go out and actually deliver person to person to try to get these agreements out. Then the full charge, per ton charge, keep track of who has these when they're out, when they come in. That has all gone through the utility office now as well.
And everybody has to keep in mind the city of Waynesville, things that we have come up daily. Dig rights, water leaks, gas leaks, pouring, fixing stuff around town, helping the water department, street department pothole.
Numerous places around town that have been doing upgrades to electrical service. We've also been doing an aggressive tree trimming, vegetation maintenance. And actually in 2022, we received the American Public Power Association gave us an award for reliability in electric. There was only 5 in the state of Missouri that received this, and the city of Waynesville was one of them. We have continued our pole replacement program this year. We are upgrading our system. We have several lines that we have rebuilt this year. We've upgraded the wire, we're upgrading the poles. So it's just been a constant maintenance and construction year, and it doesn't look like it's going to slow down any going into 2023.
In Missouri for most of my life. I have been in economic development here in the state of Missouri for about 17 years. I have worked at every level of government in economic development. I've worked for the state, I've worked for counties, and I've worked for communities of all sizes. My background is in economics and international business. I am a certified economic developer. I'm also a business retention and expansion coordinator. And I will be probably getting, starting here in Waynesville next year, I will be getting my PCED, Professional Community Economic Development. So the thing that an economic developer at my level does is to widen the tax base, to retain businesses that we already have, and to make use of the local area's best advantages. So one of the things that I saw, obviously one of these last programs to bring in some new businesses, which by the way we have several over the course of the year, as well as I'm sure you've heard of several other positive developments that are taking place. Projects that have been stagnant for a very, very long time that finally seem to be moving forward in good and positive ways. One of the other things that I noticed very much was necessary when I got here to Waynesville is a business retention program. Our retention program is a very vital component. As a business retention and expansion coordinator, it's a very vital component to an overall economic development plan. I also actually created Waynesville's economic development plan. That was one of the first things I did when I got here. That's a critical component. It serves as a guide to how the city is going to function and move forward. And it's a living document. It's something that you basically take and look at every year, you reevaluate your needs, and then move forward from there. So everything that I just said, very, very similar. A lot more business attraction. I'm going to be hitting that very, very hard in 2023. Also a lot more business retention. There are a few ideas I have tried to expand and broaden that program and make it more attractive. There's also going to be some enhancement programs I think we're going to be working on for small business. Helping small business people, entrepreneurs get started. Entrepreneurship is so critical, especially for a community of this size. There are folks out there that they don't necessarily have a whole lot of resources just starting out. And then if you give them a little bit of assistance on that front end, not only do they start a new business in your community, but they build a certain loyalty to you as well. That's really, that carries on for years, if not decades.
The Parks Department has done a lot of work in the city of Parks this year. We've done a lot of extensions leading up to open up the Ruby Bank so people can see everything in the walking trail. We've added electricity in our park. We've added temporary electricity in our little park. We've had a huge amount of festivals this year in the park. The city and the Parks Department has done a tremendous amount of work to get all this ready. Hogs and Frog was an amazing first event that we had this year, and hopefully it continues going. The Patriot State Festival, that was one of the main events that I enjoyed. It turned out to be way bigger than what I planned it to be. We had a major project this year in Gotham. We cleaned up, this is Richard Frank, who's my right-hand man. He did 90% of the work down there. Hopefully our guys can see some pictures of him working. If y'all haven't had a chance to go down there and look at it, I would really love y'all to do it.
Last year, or mid-last year, I received an email from the National Fitness Campaign, and they were wanting to see if we would be interested in placing a fitness court here. And there was a grant process that you had to go through. You would receive $25,000 as a grant award, and we were interested in it, so Amber and I took it to John, and around December, he accepted the grant award.
They really strongly suggested having their team come out and do it, but it was such an extreme cost, and we have a great construction department, and John Conley and Donnie Beal, they were really kind of the leaders in this and took this on and got it started. They took our vision, and it was really a huge effort from all of the departments in the city. We had guys from the gas department, guys from the street department, several guys from the water department. They did a good job, and it's really exciting. And they did something to save the city $40,000 by doing it ourselves, which is pretty awesome.
Trying to find a balance to keep everything going can be challenging, but I think we're all doing good at it.
And because of all the departments working so well together, like Joe, Jacob, Wally, everybody has jumped in. They've helped me patch streets, I've helped them play lines, whatever we need.
Props to the guys that helped me out, that helped me on the hill, that helped me down there. And just throughout the city, I can't thank every department enough on the help that they gave the water and sewer department. So.
The city of Waynesville has come together as a group. We have, we've joined together bonds that we didn't have before, and we work very well together.
But yeah, we're really good groups. You guys work great. Reese, Triple K. Some of you guys have been doing it for 30, 40 years. So me, myself, I've learned stuff from them. So having them around on the job site has benefited me tremendously with putting new infrastructure in subdivision.
I've learned quite a bit. I have a great teacher.
but it's kind of worked in my benefit, being able to get my hands on more and do more things, understanding how infrastructure is actually put in. You know, not only do we have to do with gas, but we got to put in consideration other utilities, how deep they are, how deep we go, where we go, things like that. So it's worked out in my favor. Yeah, sure. Working with these guys for the 2 years that I've been here, it's a great environment. You know, most places you wake up and you're like, oh man, I don't want to go to work. You know, but when you get here, everybody kind of sets the mood for you, and you know, it makes the day go by faster. The word team, I like to say team means together everyone achieves more. So, you know, I think we are a definition of that, because definitely we have achieved a lot this year.
Let's discuss the future. I can tell you that there are a lot of good things in planning right now for the city. We have worked very hard to put ourselves in a position to continue to expand in the commercial advertising and trying to make sure our city gets recognized, whether it be for the outdoor aspect with the Ruby-Doo and the trout stream and the fishing, or the commercial aspect with 400 wood and the traffic counts, and making sure that our SIP customers have feasible shopping opportunities and things like that. I think in closing, from the city administrator's office, my closing thoughts and comments would be, when you're working with the city, consider the amount of work that the staff is doing. When you're working with the city, consider the amount of time that your councilman is donating. These guys are not paid. I will say that we have a very good team, a very good group of staff and elected officials, and take the time and the courtesy to just say thank you. I know they would appreciate it, and they work very, very hard to make sure that whatever project they are working on makes the city and the community a better place to live.
For some reason in my head, I see John behind his desk making that video.
Yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I would like to say one person you did not see on there was the person that made that video possible. So sometimes when you're behind the camera, you don't have to be in front of it, and that's maybe by design. She works very hard and does a very good job, and I would like to recognize her as well, and the amount of work we were able to achieve last year, and looking forward to next year with you guys.
Very good, very good. Any other comments from you, John?
No, sir.
Council comments. Let's start with Mr. Davis.
Oh, really? No kidding. First, I would like to start with apologize for the outburst that I had earlier. Most of the people who know me know that I can go from about 0 to 60 in about 5 seconds. And I apologize for that. With that, I would like everybody to know that regardless of what's going on with the council, the mayor, or whatever happens, as you can tell from the video, this city is operating efficiently and like it should. Also, the council has been forced for quite some time now to defend itself for things that they never did, and I've talked about this before. I would like anybody listening, anybody, to log on to the city page, go to agendas, pull up the March 31st agenda for the special meeting, and the investigator's report is in it. Please read the investigator's report done by an outside investigator, not our lawyer or anybody else's. They were an outside investigator. And then read the censure letter that we did for the mayor on March 31st. I will actually give you the 4 or 5 censure points, one of which I was talking about earlier. The city council voted and approved, I believe unanimously, everybody, to these 4 stipulations. Mayor Jerry Brown is hereby censured by the City Council for multiple violations of the city code and conduct inappropriate for an elected official of the city. The council hereby condemns his conduct in the strongest terms and apologies on behalf of the city to the employees who have been adversely affected by his behavior. The council urges Dr. Brown to seek counseling and training to be able to change his behavior and adhere to the principles of the city code. 3, the mayor is hereby removed from all appointments, committees, and commissions on which he now serves, excepting those for which he is entitled to be a member based on any statute or ordinance. 4, the mayor is hereby prohibited from representing the city at civic events which are not specified in state statutes or city code. Until such time the council believes the mayor has made meaningful changes in his behavior, the mayor pro tem and the city administrator shall represent the city at purely social or honorific events. That is the censure. Everybody from the city council voted on that, and it did pass. With that said, the city will run efficiently, and sooner or later, either I won't be here or none of us will be here, but the city will run exactly how the city's supposed to. I would like everybody to know that, and I apologize for my outburst.
Mr. Wilson.
Okay, I just have a few things. First, I'd like to say that video was awesome. And outstanding job, Michelle. I know it took her about 10 minutes to put that video together. But all of the hard work that she was doing, I walked in her office yesterday and she was like, so I gotta have this done by tomorrow. But and it really highlights, I wish everybody that came tonight would have stayed and seen what this city staff has been doing. And I just want to say thank you for the hard work. Then I have just a couple of things here. Next week is Thanksgiving already, right? So there's a few things that I'm trying to go in the order that they are. This is just for all of the citizens within the community. There's a grocery giveaway that is going to take place on November 19th, and that's actually going to be at Still Usable Church. If you need the information, it's out there. I just want to kind of bring these to everybody's attention. They're giving away meals for 150 families, a limit 2 per vehicle. The Senior Center is having their Thanksgiving meal on the 22nd of November. That's going to take place from 11 to 12:30. The Waynesville St. Robert Senior Center, everyone knows where that's at, over by the fire department. They said they're going to have the turkey and the ham and all the trimmings. So they're opening this up. This is an invite. Also, in Waynesville, we have on the 24th, we have the Ark. They're opening up for community Thanksgiving dinner. So I want to just kind of share those items out there. Their time is going to be from 12 to 2 on November 24th. We want to make sure that we get this information out. I know that there's a lot of families that are still having a difficult time. So we do have a lot of amenities and a lot of ways to help them through this holiday season. And I'm just saying, enjoy your family and your time, stay warm, and check on one another. That's all I have.
Mr. Rice.
I want to thank everybody for making Waynesville a wonderful city, and I'm glad I live here. Thank you, guys.
Mr. Liberty.
Start off with, again, I'd like to thank Mr. Doyle and his staff and the city employees. We have it easy. You guys make us look good. Second thing is, I don't know how many people are aware of this, but a trio of Waynesville Career Center students finished in the top 10 at the World Food Championship in Dallas last weekend. Ryan Henderson, Sean O'Brien, and Alexis Shea ended in 7th place. In the baking category of the final at the World Food Championship in Dallas, Texas, on my birthday, Saturday, November 12th,
1942.
1906. And I would like to congratulate them, make sure everybody in the city knows what these kids have accomplished. They make us look good, and the culinary arts instructor, John Dye, does wonders with the kids. He actually, my daughter does a very good job of cooking, I'll tell you that one. And very proud of them for what they've done. Our career center is an excellent place for people to learn a trade. Thank you.
Mr. Connolly.
Well, everything gets covered by gets to me when it starts at the other end. But I would like to say, John, that's probably the best administrator's report I've ever heard.
Absolutely.
Or seen in this case. As you mentioned, Sean mentioned, Thanksgiving's around the corner, so if you're traveling, be safe. And since we won't have a meeting before then, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Amanda Corn, please.
Well, he stole my thunder on that one. I was gonna talk about all that. I do want to say thank you to all the veterans in our community for your service, and thank you, Mr. Conley. Congrats on being Veteran of the Year. It has been an honor to sit next to you this past year here, so thank you. Yes, it is. So I was gonna say Happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And then we got this video, and I was like, oh my gosh, now I have all the feels, right? Like, I love each and every one of our staff members, and I want to go around and hug each one of you and tell you how wonderful you are. And gosh, it just makes me so proud to like live here in the city of Waynesville. I am so glad that I chose this. This is my home. It's the home I picked to live in. And you all make it 1,000 times more worth living here. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I always give free hugs. So anybody needs a hug, you know, I owe you 100 million of them. So I do want to close tonight just with something that lately it's been bugging me. I feel like people just, we're just not nice anymore. We're just not nice, you know? And it doesn't take anything to be nice. So I want to leave you with, be good to people. Not just the people you live with, or know, or work with, or maybe don't work well with. Be good to everybody, all the time. You never know what's going on in anybody's life. So be good. You're gonna be remembered for the kindness that you exude and the love that you give to other people. You're not gonna be remembered for any possible success that you have if you weren't kind. So be good.
Last but not least, Mr. Farnham.
You guys covered pretty much all the topics, I think. I want to say it's an honor to be on the city council, sitting with the Citizen of the Year and the Veteran of the Year. Exactly. I mean, this is a big deal to me. You know, for our city to have two dedicated people giving of their time and effort after what they've done in their work life. And I'm really proud to be a member. I also want to say there's a lot goes on behind the scenes with the city staff that most people don't get to know about. And I think the video you showed us helps. I would like to see that on Facebook, internet, wherever. It needs to be out for the world to see. Plus there's stuff that goes on behind the scenes that is kept quiet, supposed to be kept quiet. And if it got out, it could create problems. It could possibly make us not get something put together as far as a business or a bridge or whatever we're working on. And with that, I wish the rumor mill, if you got a question, call your councilman, call your mayor, call your administrator, that or come to the meetings. With that, happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and Happy Hanukkah.
First of all, I'd like to make an Academy Award nomination to the city staff and John for this end of the year report. It was fantastic. And you're right, John, I really did enjoy it, because we talked about it in my office this afternoon, and this is the best one I've ever seen. Okay. Will this be put on the city's webpage?
We plan to post
Fantastic.
it.
Citizens, take the opportunity to go to our webpage and look at this thing if you haven't tuned in tonight to watch this. And finally, as always, I'd like to thank Channel 12 for the beautiful job they've done. Thank you very much. Adjourned.